I'm BrianVee, and this is Why We Work. Today, I have the great pleasure of speaking with Yohn Voker. Yohn Voker is what I believe a recent grad, an aspiring play-by-play sports announcer. So I think he has a bright future ahead of him, and I want to find out what that looks like for him. What are his goals? What are his aspirations, especially coming off the heels of COVID and how the sports industry has changed? So join me in this conversation with Yohn Voker. I'm BrianVee, and this is Why We Work. Today, I have the great pleasure of speaking with Yohn Voker. Good wee morning, young man.
Good wee morning, Brian.
Man, you just messaged me and you're like, I'm ready. Well, you didn't say I'm ready. Just we knew you were ready. And then it's 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's like morning up there. So,
What? I mean, I got 8 o'clock at night here. What got you up this morning I mean, you're up before you and I were start messaging, but at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, whatever you got up, what got you up?
you know, just relaxing myself. It's all that matters there. But
Yohn,
hopefully,
go ahead.
yeah,
Hopefully what?
yeah, yeah. Hopefully, sleep hasn't caught up to me yet, but hopefully, yeah, hopefully I'm ready to go.
You're up early for the New Year's Eve. It's New Year's Eve for you, right? This is my
Yeah.
New Year's Eve evening. So I'm glad and I'm happy to be spending it with you. You're likely my very last interview of 2020, making it episode 81. So I'm glad I mean, we were gonna do it tomorrow, so I never even thought it was gonna be my last, but you are definitely gonna be my last, and I appreciate you coming on. Jan, can you give us a little idea who you are, just a snapshot of who you are, what you're doing now, besides getting up early in the morning?
Yeah. Okay, so my name is Yohn Voker. I am currently live in Detroit, Michigan. I am a, aspiring sports broadcaster slash play-by-play announcer, and hopefully, I do like some voiceovers there. I am a recent graduate at a media art school called Specs Howard, and yeah, that's it.
Well, Jan, read some of this in your bio on LinkedIn, and anyone who hasn't made their resume or checked out LinkedIn, I strongly encourage people to do so. And I believe I reached out to you because I was looking for people in different industries. I could see that you're open to work, you're willing to do what it takes to get to your goal, which I believe, as you just mentioned, is getting into sports announcing, sports commentary. But Jan, what was your first job? I mean, if you just graduated, you're probably not too far away from your teens, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
What was your very first job? Maybe maybe even before your teens.
Well, my very first job was a industry associate at WIS International. We like do like all the counting of the items. Like we go to stores, we go to shopping malls, and all the other things there in between.
So how old were
And
you, Jan? Sorry, because I know I saw that actually on your LinkedIn thing. So that was just 5 years ago, actually 6 years ago. So how old were you at the time?
so I was like probably 18,
Okay,
like 17, 18.
that was your first job at 18, and you're getting up at
Yes.
5:30 in the morning, and that was your first job?
Yeah, it happens like a few times there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. And why did you get that job? Going around from place to place and just doing inventory. Why did you decide to get that at 18?
Well, I want to like get experience, just to get the beginning of it because, my parents want me to like have a job, but I don't know where to start. So I just try to like apply, like I applied to like some of the jobs there, but they like rejected me. And then I know the one place that came into my mind. So like I went to Indeed
Yes.
and trying to get like some
So sorry for
experience.
people that are not familiar, indeed.com to find a job. You went on that website looking for a
Yes.
position. Yes.
Yes, definitely. And I was applying to with International, and I got an interview there, and I applied for a job, and then that's how I started off.
Did you find that job through Indeed?
Yes.
Well, that's pretty good. It speaks highly because I guess I'm a little bit older, maybe much older, and I'm still with the old way of going to the businesses, knocking on the doors, calling the places. So I'm encouraged to see that you can go on these websites and find a position. I'm not saying that I found all my jobs by knocking on the door, but it's nice to know that places like Indeed, uh, there's some fruit if you're willing to put in the effort. So at this time, 18, were you in high school then or starting college by then as well?
Like I started college.
Why did you, so knowing that you went to a few different colleges, you went to Henry Ford, Wayne County as well, but all of the ones, including the one you just mentioned, Specs, Howard, all of the ones you did like communications, right? Or
Hmm.
media. So where did this desire come from you? So it must have been before 18 if you're already starting college and you already picked it and you had to, go through the whole process of picking out what you wanted to take. When did that desire start for you?
Well, my desire started when I was in like the fifth grade,
Okay.
and I always dreamed about being a weatherman. Like I dream of listening to Al, like watching Al Roker on the Today Show,
Yep.
and I always wanted to like make sure what the weather is all about. How's it going to predict? And so on from there. For my fifth grade class, like usually after the morning announcements, my
Okay.
teacher, yeah, my teacher, um, introduced me to become their weatherman, and I've been doing it for like the whole school year, and then that's it.
It's funny how little things like that kind of maybe fuel our interests, right? Like with teachers or someone in the family giving you just a little extra thing. Because you think now that you graduated from college, oh, doing
Hmm.
the weather in grade 5 is not that huge of a responsibility. But for a kid, when you're in grade 5, you're like, oh, this is like the greatest thing. So it's we need to have kudos to teachers who kind of spark that interest or at least fuel those fires and passions that are going on through students. So how did that manifest from being the weatherman in grade 5 to really thinking about getting into mass communication or in media?
Yeah, so when I was in high school, like about to start off my junior year, um, we moved to Detroit, and there was a school program called Go Lightly, and they have like all kinds of interesting classes that you want to take.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing that came into my mind was mass communication because I always wanted like dream being on TV and on radio, doing the news and all the other kinds of things there, sports and everything else. And then from then on, and we always like like before we do like the news, we gotta like plan out what's our stories is about. And the thing is that we gotta be prepared, and that's all it takes. Yeah, it's all it takes to get in the moment for everything else goes to plan.
So those sorts of things kind of continue to fuel your desire to take communications or media and in sports. So when did your sports desire start? Were you in sports as well, or was it just you're a fan of sports and then that's why you leaned more towards being a play-by-play announcer? How did that come about?
Yeah, so I started playing soccer when like I first started playing soccer in the high school level in like the JV
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, like junior varsity
Yeah.
level.
Mm-hmm.
So I started playing soccer in high school. I was a goalkeeper back then, like a second string goalkeeper, but I did very well in goalkeeping there. I did for like 2 years. And then when we moved to Detroit, I kind of realized what was my mind is about. But before then, I started, like watching some soccer matches when I was like 10 years old, like watching some Major League Soccer and Premier League matches there. And then as soccer got bigger and bigger, I watched like so many leagues, so many tournaments there, like either in international or in club level. So as I like watch those soccer matches, I know how the commentators they talk about either the teams, the tactics, or what's going on with the players there, and so on and forth.
So as you're in college, and what is the reason for going to three different colleges? Is that like a building process? Is that just you happen to move? This is what you planned out? Were they just different programs? What was the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, so I first went to Henry Ford
Yeah,
in August of 2014,
yeah,
and I've been taking like communication classes,
yeah.
and it was so good for me, and but things hadn't like gone well there, so I moved to the next school, which is Henry Ford, which
Okay.
is definitely based in Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
and I started going there. I took some classes there, also in communication classes, so
Mm-hmm.
it was very good
Yeah.
there from the start.
In the Wayne County as well, yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And then stopped going to that school like probably in 2018, like 2017, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized in my mind, things hasn't worked out for me. What should I do now?
Yeah.
So back in July of last year, I took an opportunity to go apply for Specs Howard, which is which I believe is the best broadcasting school in Southeast Michigan. And I didn't start until October then. It's like a 12-month program
Okay.
where, of course, you can either take your broadcast media arts, graphic design, or all the other things there. So I took uh, broadcast media arts, and yeah, I took broadcast media arts. And what we do in broadcast media arts is like do like some on-air stuff, either in TV or in radio, and you can do like voiceovers there as well. So my desire of doing media is to like become a play-by-play announcer. So at the time, I like out of Spec Tower, I tried to do my practicing my play-by-play
Mm-hmm.
for soccer, and I do that by like searching like the games, like the past games there on YouTube, trying to record myself, trying to get some reps in there before graduation. And then here on out, I realized this is exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so from then on, not only I practice like play by play, but I also do like some voiceover, some radio work, doing some on camera work there, doing some reporting and everything else. And then by the time I graduate, I realized like this was the best broadcasting school that I ever experienced.
Very good. And it's good that you went through a couple of them so you can weigh the differences and the value that you could get out of them. So when you graduated, when did you in 2020, what month was that?
October.
So, oh, just congratulations.
Yes.
Like you're just, yeah, I think I said
Yeah.
someone wet behind the ears, right? You're fresh straight out of the gate. So were you looking at jobs prior to graduation, and what have you been doing for the couple of months now since graduating?
Yeah. So far, I trying to get into jobs. They were trying to send out some of my demo work and of course my resume there. And before then, we did like some resume work. We did like some opportunities, some practicing, some interviews there. So hopefully things are going well for me right now. Um, Currently, I'm still like getting an opportunity to like apply for jobs. Not only at a
So are you
play-by-play now.
Jan, are you working now?
Not right now.
You're not working right now. So I'll split it up because I think this is a wonderful conversation. So at the moment you're not working, but you're also looking for work, correct?
Yeah, that's
So
correct.
you're one of the, I've interviewed a few younger people. You're not that young, I don't think, but I think you're in a good
No.
position in between finishing graduation and getting into your career. So I think it's a really interesting kind of dilemma you got, right? You got all the education, now you just got to get the job. So
Yes.
what is the reasoning why you don't have a job at the moment, like any job, or do you have a specific plan about that?
Yeah, like like I made a plan
Yep.
to hopefully get a job by the new year, which
Mm-hmm.
of course is tomorrow. But I just want to get a job in the sports industry, and hopefully everything will turn out very well.
So was your
And
plan, to get a job in the sports industry by the new year or to get a job?
yeah, it's kind of a little bit kind of like both, actually, to be
Do, do
honest.
you do you know
But
what I'm challenging you on?
yeah,
Right? Because there's always the idea of I come across people all over the place that are looking for the job of their industry versus looking for a job, right?
yes,
And
mhm,
some people say, well, I can't get a job because I can't get a job in my industry. But I would say that you could probably get a job until you get a job in the industry. There's a slight difference in verbiage, but it's a huge difference in practicality. What do you think about that?
yeah. I think for me, is to get a job definitely in the new year. So
Any
yeah,
job, any
any
job,
job,
any job.
any
Like what? Tell me, Jan, what are you willing to do to work to get a job? What are you willing to do?
just be yourself. Just be
I mean,
yourself.
what type of job?
Like a
I'm
like
gonna
a
hold
TV
you.
job.
I'm gonna no. Listen, like a
No,
TV job, man. You're shooting for the stars right off the bat. You're like, I'm stepping up to the plate, going for a home run.
definitely
It's good, but I'm wondering what kind of job you're willing to get.
like an entry level job,
In where?
like in sports broadcasting.
Jan, I'm gonna challenge you to say no. You should be. This is be willing to get
Yeah,
a job anywhere, doing
anywhere.
anything. Right? The first thing it always
Hmm.
comes to McDonald's, right? Something.
Right.
I mean, even call back the mover company that you worked at or the inventory associates that you worked at, just to have something to keep you active in the thing. And you don't have to put you put your mind in it, but at the same time you're aspiring to something else. Because I've come across a lot of people, and not doing this show, but just in life, people who are not working because they're looking for that perfect job. Well, the perfect job is a job. Now, your career or the thing that you have a passion about, that you can work at along the way or strive to do that. Because if I'm hiring people and I'm looking for someone, I'm not going to be so quick to hire the guy who's waiting at home for several months until he finds that perfect job. I want the guy who's willing to clean toilets and mop floors and pick up garbage and do those types of jobs, because then you get that job, then even those skills, that willingness to do something like that, can transfer over into, and it doesn't mean you're not applying for those types of jobs in television or something. But if you're willing to do janitorial work, for example, of which I did for 3 or 4 years or maybe 5 years or something in a particular industry, and then many other years doing it elsewhere, like housekeeping or bussing tables or cleaning cars or any of those sorts of things. And then at the same time, you're willing to apply to this other thing. They're like, oh, this guy's willing to work, because that's what they want. Because most times you're like, I'm willing to get a job in TV. Well, of course you are. like, of course you're willing to do that.
Of
But are you
course.
willing to do the other work, the nitty gritty stuff, to show that, that your work ethic? And don't get me wrong, at what, you're 25, maybe 24, 23,
24.
maybe. And
24.
at 24, I didn't think that this way that I'm saying. I did in some sense, but I didn't think about a career. So you got a leg up on me, like you're geared towards doing something. I didn't have that. I worked because I felt I wanted money or I needed money. But looking back, it's easier to say that get a job and
Yeah.
then continue working, right? I mean, I would even say, why were you not working during your last 2 years of university, right? At the same time. I
Yeah.
mean, but maybe you have family that they're willing and love spending money on you and giving you all that. Maybe you have that. I didn't have that, right?
Yeah.
So I would question that, because even those, what looks great on a resume, a kid going to college and he's working part-time, full-time on the side, just to, help out or pay the bills or save up or, one of those things.
Yeah. That's,
So that's the one side of it, that I said, the dilemma, the dichotomy. The one side is, why are you not working now? And I'm not saying, why are you not working now? I'm saying, why are you not working now? And I would challenge you for 2021 is to really just go get a job. You found one on Indeed before. You can probably find a job on LinkedIn or something. You can probably walk around your area and Detroit and just find some part-time, full-time position that at least just gets you somewhere. And then what does your looking look like? And I ask this not against you, but for listeners, right? Like,
mhm.
okay, I'm in school. What should I be doing? Well, you might want to be working, right? Or you're done school and you're looking for a job. Well, you might want to be doing some other work until you get that job. But also, what does your look like as you're looking for a job? What does that look like for you?
Hmm. That's a good question. Yeah.
Right. And it's not to, to reveal anything about you, but it's just to reveal sometimes in ourselves the way that we could just be doing it differently, so that we do become successful, so that we do get the job that we want to get, and to encourage other people to do the same. It's not to reveal. I can just, like I said, I was an idiot at 24. So this is really not against you at all. I'm an idiot now. So, but just the idea is, it's not against you, but I think your story is interesting. While we can challenge you, we can also encourage other people to look at the different ways they're going about finding work. So
Right.
how are you finding work? What does that look like in your job search? Because I often say, one, to myself, but to other people, is if you don't have a job, you actually do have a job. Do you know what your full-time job is? I know you know the
Mm,
answer. What's your full-time job?
My full-time job?
Yeah, right now. You have a full-time job. It's not on your resume, and you may not think of it because it doesn't pay anything monetarily, but what is your full-time job?
Construction worker.
Finding a
No.
job.
Finding a job. Yes.
That's your full-time job, right? Your
Hmm.
full-time job is to find a job. And if that looks like going to wherever, I'm not sure in the States what, Staples in Canada or whatever, you go print off 100 resumes and you're up at 5:30 in the morning, right? I don't know what you're doing up at 5:30, but if you're getting ready to start your day at 8 o'clock or at 8:30 when businesses start, you start walking. If you have a car, you start driving. If you don't, get a bus and go to different places with your resume in hand, shaking hands. I saw your portfolio. Oh, actually, it was right here on the beginning. You have a nice suit. Go. I mean, you don't have to wear a suit for all places, but
Right.
just going and where. And I don't know if you live with your mom or whatever, but someone asks you, "Where are you going?" I'm going to find a job, right? And if you don't find one today, you wake up tomorrow and you do the same thing. It's a little different now. It's the holidays, right?
Definitely.
Places, but that's how we do it. And then that experience is, you'll never look back and say, well, that was time on, a wasted time. It won't be wasted time, right? I mean, it will feel like it, especially when you get rejected, but everyone that does anything gets rejected so many times, right? Think of people who do sales, right? They have it down to a
Right.
science. They know they're going to ask people. You've done things like that in asking 100 people to buy this product. And they know that 90 of them, if not 99 of them, are going to say no, but they know that one person will say yes. So the same thing with finding a job. Your full-time job, Yohn, is
If you get a
is
job.
to get a job. So how has it looked so far? How has it looked so far?
So far it's been going well so far. Recently I sent out my resume to like some of the people that I really know within the sports industry. So hopefully they haven't like responded to me yet, but hopefully they will soon.
So are you practicing as well? You mentioned making a demo tape and all of that. Is there some sort of practice? You're watching a lot of sports, staying up to date with players. Is that some part of it? Is it just watching the game and getting used to it and listening? You mentioned that that's what you do, but also just really getting really involved in it, or is it not quite getting traction because you're not in that job yet?
Yeah, it's kind of like that, just keeping up to date with all the sports. And hopefully once the game comes, like before the game comes, I'll write down the lineups and the stats, and everything else goes to plan. And
Well, some people,
we'll see.
a good way for you to do practice and it puts a little pressure on you, right? And it keeps you a little accountable is by, starting like a Twitch channel, or
Oh
just like
yeah.
a little podcast or something where you're going through play by play, and it's just you're putting yourself out there, because there's that added pressure of putting yourself. You took mass communications and you had to do some of this type of stuff for homework, that if you do this, it's not like just sitting, at your living room or in your room, just kind of going through it with no accountability. But by recording yourself and actually putting yourself out there and kind of revealing yourself and your abilities and talents and kind of getting feedback, that would be one way. I know I interviewed someone, I think it was in episode 20 something, Christian Moreno. He is a Spanish play-by-play sports commentator who I think is actually pretty popular and famous in the Spanish world, Spanish-speaking world, and he does like NBA and all of these sorts of things. So what I will do, and he's a great guy, a very nice guy, is I will connect you with him, and then you can talk to him about, just he was more than willing to offer information, and then you never know what he might know about entry level, any sorts of things, or just tips, right? I'm not promising you anything, but just the idea of a connection. That's why I find things like LinkedIn. I believe that, yeah, that is where I found him,
Yeah.
is looking for people, is just search, right? And just
Hmm.
say, and then on another note, I saw someone say, don't use aspiring. You're not an aspiring sports broadcaster. You're a sports broadcaster, right? You're working on your skills, right? You're
Yeah.
working on that. And so to take away the aspiring part, and it's just you're working in that, and that is your goal. Speaking of goals, Yohn, in terms of COVID-19 with sports, I guess the fans not allowed being in the stadiums. Do you see a change in the landscape of sports in the future? And with that, what would your goal be?
Well, the first part is hopefully fans will come back pretty soon, but not sure when.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure if 2021 is going to be like back to normal or not, but it's going to take some process there
Yeah.
as well. For my goals is to, try to be myself in the sports broadcasting industry and hopefully make every connection that you ever had with someone, and definitely try to work your trying to like work my reps in. Um, even though that I'm still like trying to like get a job in the sports broadcasting industry, getting a job, um, gotta put in a lot of effort there, and that's takes hard work and sacrifice for what everyone to achieve it, because once you get the job, it's it's on everybody's own.
Is there a sportscaster that you look to nowadays that is kind of like a guiding light, an aspiring hope that you would like to be, or you'd like to have that same sort of influence or ability?
Well, yes. In the sports broadcasting world, I always look up to Kevin Harlan, Jim Nantz, Joe Buck, and and you know, and everyone that I know. But in the soccer business, I always look up to like some of the best commentators there, not only in American soccer, but also in English soccer there.
Yeah.
But I always look up to JP Dellacamera, John Strong, Arlo White, and also John Champion. Um, these guys that I inspire with by by like listening to them, by watching the game, I always like inspire them to do like so much effort. Like they put in like so much passion all throughout these years when calling soccer matches.
Yeah.
I mean, this is exactly what I want to achieve in trying to become, you know, the play-by-play announcer for soccer. And
Yeah.
like I said, I just got to be myself at any time there.
Do you think, and this is just a pure question because I'm not sure, do you think it's more advantageous, more wise, better marketability on yourself to be focusing on soccer or just sports in general? So to keep yourself open to any sports versus focusing solely on soccer at the moment.
I always think about like doing sports in general. Um, like if I do like TV, that's the case there. But if I do like something on radio, I gotta like paint in the picture of what they're listening to or what they're seeing. So
Yeah. Even though you're young in your work journey, is there a skill that you find that is eluding you? There's one just out of your grasp that you would like to hone. There's a skill that you know that you're going to need, or do you have a skill that is pretty good right now that other people would look to work on themselves? A skill or a talent?
skill or talent. Um, the only thing that I could think of right now,
And actually thinking of all those people you just mentioned, do they have like
yeah,
a somewhat of a consistent skill that they all seem to have that you would like to have yourself?
um, gotta have a perfect voice as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, yeah,
It's tough.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
How do you feel about your own voice? I mean, that is a question that is what everyone listens to. Do you feel it's something that you're shy with? Is it something that you're comfortable with? Is it something you're working on? What do you think about your own voice in that sense?
Yeah, I'm very comfortable with my voice. You know, when I try and practice play by play, I always gotta like listen to myself. What do I need to improve? What are
Mhm.
some of the things that I achieved on? And that's all that matters when you're try and get your reps in, and hopefully everything will be good and by then.
Are your headphones that you are wearing now, are they monitors? Are you able to hear your voice?
Yes.
You're able to hear your own voice. And that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of a key thing. Like most people, and it's new to me, relatively new to me. And you'll notice that even if they have the small ones, like singers on stage, they all have some sort of monitor to watch their tones and intonation.
Yeah.
How are you staying productive? You're new, you don't have a job, you're looking for a job. What's keeping you productive in your search and motivated in trying to attain your goal?
For me, it's to have connections with people. Um, Hopefully I talk to them probably every week, probably some once a month,
Sorry,
but then
you talk to who once a week?
um some of the people,
Your
some,
connections, you mean?
yes, yeah,
Okay,
my
yeah.
connections.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I kind of seek advice for what I do
Yeah.
to become a sport broadcaster.
Hmm.
But hopefully they respond, giving me some tips and advice, and hopefully I want to keep it that way, you know, just for me.
What's your motivation? What's motivating you to do that, to even to reach out to talk to someone? What's driving you? I mean, at 18 you started to work and you
Hmm.
have this, and only within a few years you're finished school and you're ready to work and you have a high aspiration. But what is motivating you to do this?
My motivation for me is to, you know, try to talk as many people you can, and hopefully you can like connect with them, making sure everything is going well in the business there, especially when I was in 18 as well. Hopefully to keep along with them, just make sure how's everything going there, and then hopefully once the job is done, the job is done, and then that's it.
Does your school specs Howard School of Media Arts, does that have a human resource center or career center for you to start looking for jobs? Will they help you find positions as well?
Absolutely,
Have you been taking
absolutely.
advantage of that?
Yeah, I've been emailing one of the resource, or one of the people in the Career Resources Center. His
Mm-hmm.
name is Brent,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of make sure or which job that I want to take on there, and hopefully, yeah, hopefully everything will go into plan.
And if you look at an episode I did a couple of ago, I think it was 79, Caroline Siniza Levine, if you check it out after this, watch and check it out. She worked in her career center place during college, and now her whole mission is to help people find their career suited to their interests, mainly people changing their careers, but also people getting into a career. So if you're finding yourself at a roadblock, even she says she has a website which is called the Dream Club or Dream Club. I'm just looking here, Dream Career Club, Dream Career
Hmm.
Club, and she
Yeah.
has free resources on how to change, and I want to say manipulate, but I want to change your resume and to do the proper steps to find a job. So check out her, even connect with her. She might offer some advice, or she might be a good resource, but her website has some free resources as well on how to get those jobs and those positions. Have you reached out to any of those sportscasters, tried them on LinkedIn or Twitter or any of that? Are you following them? Have you tried to just say
Yeah.
hello?
Yeah, I connect with some of the people there on LinkedIn in there. So
Yeah, it's good, right? Just to follow, see what they're up to, and even message them. You never know who would reply, who's just sitting there and like, oh, this guy's asking me some advice. you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. I heard it today, like catch 22, right? You need to get a job, but in order to get a job, you need experience. What is your view on character at being such a young age? So I don't think my character was up to par. I know my character was not up to par in my 20s, maybe 30s and 40s, and teens. But where do you see the importance of character as you are about to set out on your career?
So my character is to like improve improve yourselves, improve that you are definitely trying to be your best that you can be. And yeah, definitely it takes time to like get it done, get it right, and hopefully once it's perfect, then just leave it at that. And then definitely things will work
Yohn,
out.
once you get it perfect, please give me a call and tell me how you did it. I want to be the first one to buy it. I don't know if it's a pill or whatever it is it took to take it to get perfection, but I would be the first one in line to take it.
Definitely.
Yohn, also, what do you think? I mean, I think it's great that you started off in college to do something, you're in a position and you're going to follow that path. And I think it's commendable, and I want you to know that anyone listening would want the best for you. I mean, for myself, it was on such a winding path in my 20s that I wish I could go back and have the same enthusiasm that you do. I won't say enthusiasm, but the same vision, the same drive, the same purpose. And then I think things would be different for me. And I hope things would be for you what you want them to be. But is there anything that people might not understand about you that you would like them to understand so that they can have a better understanding and appreciation of you?
Well, to be fair, I okay. So to be fair, no no one might have noticed this, but when I was 4, I was diagnosed with autism, and since then, I try to like ignore the fact that I have autism there, but it takes a lot of work to get it done there, and
Oh,
you know,
Jan, you just opened
yeah,
a whole can of worms. And they're not worms in a bad way. These are the yummy worms. Jan, that is wonderful.
hmm
Do you realize how wonderful that is?
yeah,
Because that gives you a leg up where you didn't have a leg up before. That gives you an opportunity in a place that you had no opportunity. You may not have had an opportunity before. The reason it's funny you mentioned this. Do you know who
yeah.
my new best friend, I should say at least manager is? He is certainly he's declared himself as my manager. He didn't say manager, but he certainly is my manager. So I can certainly hook you up with someone. Do you ever hear of Frankie McDonald?
No.
And the funny thing is, when you said, I wrote it down. I mean, I'm not even lying. I mean, not that I usually lie. I think it's embarrassing to show you my notes that I have, but I don't know if you could see. It says Frankie McDonald right here. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
This is not that I see. I don't think I'm seeing anything. But when you mentioned weatherman, I was like, you know what? I should introduce you to Frankie McDonald, because Frankie McDonald is the best weatherman in the world. You may not know who he is, but he's the best weatherman in the world. Do you know why he's the best weatherman in the world? Besides his heart, his passion, his dedication, his determination, his drive, and all of that, Frankie has autism. And nothing is stopping Frankie from pursuing his dreams. And guess what? He has a bobblehead. He has a action figure. He has a book. Be prepared. Look up Frankie McDonald. I will connect you with Frankie McDonald, and you will be on. Hopefully, it's my suggestion. Like you brought it up. This is something people didn't
Definitely.
understand about you, and I think it's a wonderful thing. Also, Dylan Attack. Dylan Attack is Frankie's probably best friend now at this point, I think. And Dylan Attack is amazing. I mean, you can search them. I interviewed both of them. They're both on there on the videos. Dylan Attack is out of Ontario. So I'm from Canada. Frankie is out of Cape Breton, which is where all my family grew up. Dylan Attack is out of Ontario. And starting in January, Dylan and Frankie are going to have their own TV show on cable TV, cable 14 in Canada. Not only that, Frankie has introduced me to no less than 5 other people that he wants me to interview. And they're all great people. And at least at least 4 of them all have autism. Wow. Dylan has autism. He has met the Queen, the Prince, the Prime Minister of Canada. He's met famous hockey players. Their whole new podcast is interviewing famous people. So if you can find the Dylan and Frankie podcast or Dylan and Frankie show, they're blowing things out of the water. And another guy, he has his, so they have their one, so how they promote it is Frankie's the weatherman. Listen, I got you a new gig.
Yes.
You could be their sports guy.
That's good.
If you want. I mean, it depends on how far. You said what it was, and what it is what it is. And use it to the best of your ability, and don't be afraid of it, because this is the cards that you were dealt. And this is what you said, and people will have a better understanding and better appreciation of you because of it.
Yeah.
Frankie is the weatherman on the show, and Dylan is I'm not saying they're going to put you on the show, but they will interview you. I guarantee you. And I'll message them right now and do so, just because they're just wonderful guys. And Frankie and Dylan is what did he tell me he called himself? The celebrity getter. I forget, but he just is able to connect. He just reaches out to lots of people. There was other people who I'm going to interview that have their own radio station with rock and country radio station. There's another guy who's into rap. So I think it's wonderful that you said that. And I don't know if you wanted me to go down that path with it, but you said it. I had no idea. I didn't assume it. I never thought of it. Just you mentioned weatherman, and Frankie is the best weatherman in the thing. I mentioned first to you the play-by-play commentator out of, I think he lives in Florida, but he's a Spanish commentator. But that connection as well. But I will connect you with them. And I think that somehow, some way, at least an inspiration to show that you can do whatever you want, right? And how big it becomes, if it becomes a job, if it becomes a career, I'm struggling here, right? Like I have to make ends meet. I need to pay the bills, and I need to do all that too. And it's not easy. That's why I say somewhere in my writing of, work is good, but work is tough, right? It doesn't matter the job. And that's what I do this show for, to show all the wonderful people out there in the world, including yourself, who have an aspiration, an ability. Not all people can work, but the people who do and want to, then go do the work that you want to do, even though it's going to be tough. And I hope you pursue those things to the best of your ability, right? Because not all people want to be sports commentators. Not all people have autism and want to be sports commentators either.
Nah.
Right? But it's I think I live in a culture now in South Korea where those things are kind of hidden, right? But I think living in North America, I grew up in Canada where we always had people who had certain things going on, that disabilities, right? That's what Frankie and Dylan would call it. And it just, but I asked Dylan specifically, I'm like, how do you feel about it? Do you feel hindered, or is it a disadvantage? No, it's not. You don't have bad days. He doesn't, not that he doesn't have bad days, but it's not something that he finds that hinders him. There's nothing that hinders him about having autism. So wonderful on you. Thank you for answering that question so honestly. And I think it's interesting. So with that, is there any adversity that you face? So I only have a couple questions for you, Yohn, but is there any adversity that you face? Like I could be spewing all of that stuff out and you're like, no, you're crazy. You have no idea what I'm going through because of it. But is there any adversity that you face? And I'm not trying to pry too much into your life. I have been asking my guests this question a lot, but the reason I'm asking about adversity in your life, but to be an encouragement to other people. Do you have something like that?
Not really. I always, focusing on myself and, what I wanted to do at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you're facing adversity, you just gotta make sure that you're putting your effort to it. And hopefully when the time comes right, then you gotta show them what you're really made of. And that's that's my case there, at least. So.
That's wonderful. Yohn, how can people reach you if people want to get in contact with you, whether you have Instagram or Facebook or any of those things? I know you're on LinkedIn, but how can people get in touch with you?
Okay, so for me, so of course, LinkedIn is at Yohn Voker, but I also have Instagram that is YBV underscore, YBV underscore 96 on Insta.
Anything else?
That's it.
YBV underscore. No Twitter?
No Twitter.
Man, if you get connected with Frankie and Dylan, those guys are killing it. They got hundreds of thousands of followers, right?
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
mean, not that you're doing it for followers, but you are because you want to be on TV. You want people to look at you. So don't play humble with me. I know how
Yeah.
it is, right? But
Right.
make sure if your Instagram is not too, depending on how many followers you have, maybe you want something that it stands out as who you are. I mean, you have a wonderful name. I've never heard of the name before, Yohn Voker, right?
Yeah.
That just good evening, everyone. This is Yohn Voker, right? I mean, it's wonderful, and it's something you should show, and it's something you should use, right? Frankie has like Frankie McD or something like that, or Frankie McDonald. I'll send you all of those links for him, and I'll I'll introduce you guys, and maybe you can appear if you have time. They meet like almost every day online, right? And maybe you can talk about sports, right? That's why, and that's not why I asked, but to focus on many sports, you can just be the sports guy, right? Like thinking of a TV show that has, okay, in today's sports, the Celtics beat Toronto 106
Yeah.
to 95, like just to
Kind of
be
like that.
fluent with all of those things. And maybe with Frankie and Dylan, they might throw you on the show as the sports guy.
Hey, that'll work.
Don't I'm not trying to blow up the balloon here
Yeah.
and then someone
Nah.
pop it and then you be sad about it, but I'll have a talk with my manager, Frankie. What a great guy he is.
No problem.
Final question, Yohn. Why do you want to work?
Why do I want to work? That is a good question. The reason why I want to work is to, focus on my goals in my career and definitely be the best of what I want it to be. Like if I do like five, if I like, work 5 days a week, I'll work 5 days a week. If I do like Sunday, I'll probably do like Sunday. But, it takes a lot of time to do the work. And, when you wake up in the morning and you're ready to go for work, grab some coffee, all the other things you wanted to do. You're ready for the day. And then you got like all the energy that you need to work out. And then by the time at day's ends, and you feel like, I think I could do the job that I want to work. And that is exactly what I care about. And, you know, for me, getting a job is definitely important for me. So, you know, do the best thing you can. Um, if you have family, then do the best for your family. And that's that's definitely what everyone wants to have.
Yohn Voker, not aspiring, but soon to be sports broadcaster, play-by-play announcer, maybe on the Frankie and Dylan show coming near you. Thank you. Thank you, Jan, for your time. I truly appreciate your drive, your aspirations, what you want to do. And I don't see why anything would stop you besides yourself. But remember, you got to get a job if you're going to just get a job. Any job will do, right? I,
Don't
I,
worry, I will.
I appreciate it. And I truly appreciate the work that you will be doing. Thank you, Jan.
Thank you so much, Brian.